Good morning. Today we'll start with the topic energy transfer and general energy analysis. We will start with the topic that is your lighting efficiency. So in case of electric bulb, so what is your lighting efficiency? It is defined as the amount of light output in luminous per watt of electricity consumption. The purpose of electric bulb is to convert electrical energy into light. So how much amount of that particular energy? Suppose 60 watt is the input. So how much energy of that 60 watt is converted into light? So a 50 watt bulb is more efficient as compared to 60 watt, and also its lifetime is more. So the lighting is units of light is your luminous. So this is the in case of lighting. The efficiency of a cooking appliance is different. So we can check here. This is your suppose cooking appliance. So we will supply 5 kilowatt of energy. 3 kilowatt is transferred to your food and 2 kilowatt is wasted to environment. So for a cooking appliance, your efficiency is energy utilized for cooking purpose or transfer to the food divided by energy supplied to appliance. So it is 0.6. So the cooking efficiency depends on user habits as well as individual appliances. So there are different appliances which we use for cooking. So you can see here in this table, electric oven, it is cooking temperature is 350, cooking time is 1 hour, energy used 2 kilowatt hour, but cost of energy will this, and when you use for gas oven, frying pan, toaster and micro oven, it is the lowest one. So definitely it is important parameter in case of cooking appliances. We want this you can say efficiency to be more, so that precious heat will be saved. Why it is so important? Because you can say using energy efficient appliances, practicing energy conservation measures help our pocketbooks by reducing our utility bills. It also helps the environment by reducing the amount of pollutants emitted to the atmosphere during the combustion of fuel at home or at the power plants, because whatever energy we use, that will either come for power plants or some natural gas. So every you can say ounce which is burned will produce some global, you can say, warming, or like 6.4 kg of carbon dioxide for each therm of natural gas produces. Means if you produce natural gas, so 6.4 kilogram of carbon dioxide is produced, which causes global climate change, and 4.7 gram of nitrogen oxide and 0.54 gram of hydrocarbons, which causes smoke also, and 2 gram of carbon monoxide, which is toxic, and 0.03 gram of sulfur dioxide, which causes acid rain. So each therm of natural gas saved eliminates the emission of these pollutants while saving cost also. The next is, you can also see in this figure, if you use a gas based conventional you can say your burner, so it is only able to transfer 30% energy to the food and rest is wasted to environment, which is 62%. But if you use the electrical range, because you can see here it will transfer 73% energy to the this pan, so it is more efficient. So it is advisable to use electrical range. And efficiencies of mechanical and electrical devices. The transfer of mechanical energy is usually accompanied by a rotating shaft. We have to use a shaft to transfer mechanical energy, and thus mechanical work is often referred to as a shaft work. A pump or a fan receives shaft work, usually from an electric motor, and transfer it to the fluid as a mechanical energy. So take an example of a pump where your electric motor is running a pump, and electric motor shaft transfers its energy to the, you can say, shaft of a pump, and the pump rotates. A turbine, on the other hand, converts the mechanical energy of fluid to shaft work. In the turbine, it is reversed. In the turbine, fluid stream will enter at a high temperature. It will leave at low temperature and low pressure. So fluid will do work on the turbine. So it converts mechanical energy of the fluid to shaft work. Or you can say, if it is a steam turbine, it converts thermal and mechanical energy to shaft work. In the absence of any irreversibilities such as friction, mechanical energy can convert entirely from one mechanical form to another, and mechanical efficiency of device or process can be defined as, so mechanical efficiency of a device is mechanical energy output divided by mechanical energy input. You can take example of this fan here. This fan the energy supplied to this fan is 50 watt. This fan rotates, and due to rotation of these blades, the fluid which is here is moving at velocity of you can say mass velocity of air is 0.50 kg per second, and this fluid will move at velocity of 12 meter per second, while initial fluid velocity is 0. So there is change in kinetic energy of the fluid, means this 50 watt of energy is transferred and converted to kinetic energy of the fluid, where Z1, Z2 are same and pressure are also same. So you can say efficiency of mechanical of fan is equal to, that is E mechanical of fluid, which is directly converted from the change in kinetic energy of fluid, which is half mv square, that is 12 square by 2, and multiply by mass flow rate divided by 50, we will get 0.72, means this fan is 72% efficient. 50 watt out of 50 watt, if you multiply 50 watt by 72%, that amount of energy is transferred to the fluid, and the fluid has the moving velocity. A conversion efficiency of less than 100% indicates that conversion is less than perfect and some losses have occurred during conversion. So as we know, 100% conversion of one state of energy to another is not possible. Definitely there is a loss, means if you convert heat energy into mechanical, there must be some loss, and vice versa also. A mechanical efficiency of 97% indicates that 3% of mechanical energy input is converted to thermal energy as a result of frictional heating, and will manifest itself as a slight rise in temperature of the fluid. In fluid systems, we are usually interested in increasing with the pressure, velocity. We are not interested in temperature. So this is done by supplying mechanical energy to fluid by a pump or a fan or a compressor. You can see here pump efficiency. The degree of perfection of a conversion process between mechanical work supplied or extracted and the mechanical energy of the fluid is expressed by pump efficiency and turbine efficiency. You can see what is pump efficiency. It is the mechanical energy increase of the fluid, means whatever energy you had supplied to the fluid divided by mechanical energy input. The same as case in the fan, the same as here in case of the pump. So this E mechanical fluid is equal to E mechanical out minus E mechanical in. So fluid will come with some energy at inlet. Suppose in this fan case it is V1, means 0, and fluid will go with some velocity and kinetic energy. So that is here, that in and out difference will give you the how much energy is transferred to the fluid. So useful pumping power, same you can define in case of turbine. It is mechanical energy output, which is work shaft output of the turbine to the mechanical energy decrease of the fluid. Because in case of turbine, the fluid will do work, so mechanical energy decrease of the fluid, whatever the you can say decrease in the pressure and velocity of the fluid is converted to the shaft work of turbine, but whole can't be converted. So this is shaft work output of turbine to the energy change of the mechanical fluid in case of turbine. So these two are, you can say here, for pump and turbine, both are work in opposite way. In pump, the energy is transferred to the fluid, while in turbine, the energy is taken from the fluid, means fluid energy will decrease and you have the shaft output here. So these efficiencies are used to find the, you can say, efficiency of power plant, hydraulic power plants. So the mechanical efficiency should not be confused with the motor efficiency and generator efficiency. So there is also one efficiency, that is your electrical efficiency. Electric energy is commonly converted to rotating mechanical energy by electric motors to drive fans, compressor, robot arms, car starters, and so on. The effectiveness of the conversion process is characterized by the motor efficiency, which is the ratio of mechanical energy in output of the motor to the electric input. The motor efficiency can be 35% for small motors and it can be 95% for large motors. So efficiency of motor is also defined as mechanical power output to the electric power input. Means we will supply for 2 kilowatt energy to the motor, but at the shaft, the energy output at the shaft is less because of the some loss. You can see here in this example, we have a turbine generator set. Turbine efficiency suppose is 75% and generator efficiency is 0.97%. When two are connected, so this turbine has the shaft power and this shaft power will rotate the generator and generator will produce the electricity. So whatever the energy output here, that is less because there some loss is there, some loss is at generator set. So total turbine generator efficiency is equal to the product of these two efficiencies, which is 0.73%. So same you can say here, a pump is usually packed together with its motor and a turbine with its generator. Therefore we are usually interested in combined overall efficiency. So here we are interested in turbine generator efficiency. In case of pump and motor set, we are interested in pump and motor combined efficiency. So it is efficiency of pump and efficiency of motor. When you solve it, you will get this output here. So all efficiencies just a defined range between 0 and 100%. The lower limit of 0% correspond to conversion of the entire mechanical or electrical input to thermal energy. If this efficiency is more near to the 0, it means your energy is wasted in the form of heat, which is not desirable. If the upper limit of 100% means you had converted, it is a perfect case where a conversion with no friction or other irreversibilities and thus no conversion of mechanical or electrical energy to thermal energy means your 100% energy is transferred, which is not possible. So this is also example of where you have lake with a fluid at 50-meter height head. You had a turbine, the mass rate of fluid is given, and this you have generator here. The efficiency of generator is 0.95 and it produces 1862 kilowatt of power. So a water in a large lake is to be used to generate electricity by an installation of a hydraulic turbine generator at a location where the depth of water is 50 meter. Water is to be supplied at a rate of 5000 kg per meter second, and generator will produce this much amount of power. So you have to solve this. So you can see here again apply the same equation, that is energy mechanical in minus energy mechanical out, that is your gravity and your height and multiply with the mass. So this much amount of energy is, you can say, is supplied per kilogram of the fluid. If you multiply this by total fluid, you will get total energy. Out of this total energy, you have this this is the total 2455 kilowatt. Now this much amount is produced by generator and this much amount is the energy having fluid. So the overall efficiency we will got 0.76 and generator efficiency is given, and as we know overall efficiency is the product of efficiency of turbine and efficiency of generator. You can find the efficiency of turbine. Up to here we had discussed about the efficiency related to the turbine, pump and motor. Now we will discuss energy and environment. The conversion of energy from one form to another form often affects the environment. You can see energy processes are often accomplished by environmental pollution. Fossil fuels such as coal, oil and natural gas have been powering the industrial development and the amenities of modern life that we enjoy since 1700s. But this had not been without any undesirable side effects. From the soil we farm and the water we drink to the air we breathe, the environment has been playing a heavy role for it. Pollutants emitted during the combustion of the fossil fuels are responsible for smog, acid rain and global warming. It is estimated that 60,000 people die in the United States each year out of heart and lung diseases caused due to this pollution. So 100 elements are there, you can say not a single element. So some compounds are added to the liquid fuels for various reasons such as MTBE to raise the octane number of the fuel, which is oxygenate the fuel in the winter months to reduce urban smog. The largest source of air pollution is in motor vehicles, and the pollutant released by the vehicles are usually grouped as hydrocarbons, NOx emissions and carbon monoxide emissions. The hydrocarbon emissions are the large component of volatile organic compounds. So you can see here these are the major pollutants. The increase of environmental pollution at alarming rates and the rising awareness of its dangers made it a necessity to control it by legislation and international treaties. In the United States, the Clean Air Act of 1970 was added by the 14-day smog alert in Washington, set limits on pollutants emitted by the large plants and vehicles. So you can see there is a limit of these pollutants. So all these pollutants along with the particulate matter, they as a result of today's industrial facilities and vehicles emit a fraction of pollutants they used to emit a few decades ago. Now it has very improved as compared to the previous years. So these also cause the loss of ozone. You can say if you live in a metropolitan area such as Los Angeles, you are probably familiar with the urban smoke. This is also a poisonous gas which is results from the hydrocarbons and NOx emissions and sulfur dioxide emissions. Ozone irritates eyes. Also there is a production of ozone, you can say, which is the part of smoke. It irritates eyes and damages the air sacs in the lungs where oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange. So overall this is the major concern. You can study about more this yourself. So thank you for watching this video, and like this video, and for more you can comment into the below box.